Hi, welcome to the Nurse with Needles podcast, take two. We forgot that we were having a drawing, not drawing, we had picked our new name for our podcast.
Only we hadn't.
Well, we had discussed it.
Yes. Well, we
had, really. So we'll talk about that a little later in the podcast. Keep you on the edge of your seat.
Same bad time, same bad station.
Same bad channel.
Yes, I know. I grew up with that.
You did it wrong. My name is Talia, also known as Mexican Gypsy on Ravelry and on Plurk.
I'm Marlisha. I'm also known as Lady Fernico, just like everybody said. No, Lady Fernico.
You do know how to pronounce it.
I do know how to pronounce my name. I just hear so many other people saying it the other way. Lady Fernico on Ravelry and on Plurk.
And today is Sunday, November 4th, and it is around 4:19.
You all turned your clocks back.
Yes. Unless, of course, you're not in an area where, like if you're in Arizona or something, then you didn't turn your clock back. Or if you're in California, I guess your time is different. Anyway, in Virginia, it's 4:19.
But they still have to turn their clock back in California.
Yes.
Just not in Arizona. Sorry about that. We're in a different place and get a lot more noise here.
But lighting, I think, is a lot better, so it's a trade-off. I'd rather have better lighting. We can deal with a little bit of background noise. Hopefully it's not too noisy.
Just let us know if it's too distracting.
Yeah, please. Oh, we'll take that into consideration.
Such a stinker.
I worked an extra hour last night. I'm allowed to be a stinker.
You're always a stinker.
Because I work 7 p to 7 a, I was working overnight when the time change happened. So all y'all got an extra hour of sleep. I got an extra hour of work. And 2 o'clock repeated itself. It felt like we were in Groundhog Day. Yeah. We kept saying that 2 o'clock was going to last forever, and that the first 2 o'clock was so great we decided to repeat it again.
You just have to repeat it so you got it right.
So we did 2 o'clock twice last night. Anyway, this is a knitting podcast.
And crocheting.
And crocheting. So I guess we should probably jump right into that now that we have done introductions. Oh, and welcome to new viewers. Hello. I hope you will not be weirded out and will stick around. And if you are a returning viewer, it is always great to see you. I hope you have your knitting and crocheting with you. The new venue is my room. So you will see like my Swifter in the background, my yarn shelf back there, my awesome red curtains,
and her couch coat, as my husband calls it.
It's an awesome coat.
It's a nice coat. My husband thinks it looks like a couch. I like it. It looks good with her scarf that I made her.
Yes. But anyhow, into the knitting and crocheting. I keep feeling like I'm telling them something. Oh, probably the fact that if you are a new viewer, we have a Ravelry group, and
whose name will be changing.
Yeah, the name will be changing. So I should probably actually mention that later. We'll get into that later. Stop by our Ravelry group, and we'll tell you the new name.
We'll tell you here too, but
yes,
eventually. I'll never get into the knitting.
So I didn't work on that project. I kind of focused on a couple projects. The Nightwing shawl. This is my project that's the Sedna shawl pattern by Mary Lana Lynx. I'm making it for me with US 4 Knit Picks interchangeable circulars using a 40-inch cable. For this pattern, I am using No Makers 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon yarn in the Nightwing colorway. When I finish with this yarn, when I'm on the crochet edging, I'll be using Spring Tree Roads. It's black yarn. It's also superwash merino with nylon and cashmere, and it's going to be in the, I think it's Jenny Linsky. It's over there, but I'm not going to get up and get it. For this pattern, you need to know how to knit, to purl, and to yarn over. And then when you get to the crocheted edging, you need to know how to chain, single crochet, slip stitch, double crochet, and do combined double crochet. Well, I discovered when I was at work last night, first of all, there's
Batman.
the Batman bag that it lives in. Because it's just appropriate that Nightwing lives in a Batman bag.
Until it gets too big into the Nightwing bag.
Yeah, but this isn't going to get that big.
Is it my project in the Nightwing bag?
Yes, it is. So I'll probably end up accidentally calling it the Nightwing sweater.
It's not the Nightwing sweater.
It's not, but... So actually this isn't much farther than when you saw it. Well, it might be a little farther than you saw it last week.
You didn't do too much on that this week.
Well, I started thinking back because I noticed that I made a mistake.
Oh, that's right.
And then I was like, heck, I don't care. And I dealt with it.
It's a mystification. What's she called? Mistakification?
Mistakification. I wasn't paying attention, I think, when I was knitting while shopping. And I did my, you see the ridge? Hold on. My cape was getting in the way.
The open work part of it?
Yeah, the open work part of it. Could you
Not
put
really noticeable.
Could you put the paper behind it?
Oh wait, that's not going to work. Let me try the other one. Because we have writing on the back of our papers. Well, I have to do that anyway. Here we go.
So, I guess it really isn't noticeable.
It's not really noticeable. Probably.
Let's go a little closer. So, alright, maybe you should take the paper away. I think it's making it worse. Okay.
Because it has writing on the back, so.
Well, you see where the ribbon, where the little ridge is.
It's right here.
Right, yeah, and then where I was supposed to do it, I did it like a stitch before. And you can't really see, I can see where it is. But it is kind of hard to see in reality unless you're like pulling it apart going, there's that mistake. I guess you can see it better from the back.
Maybe so it's not too bad. You really can't see it too bad. You can just barely see it, and then you're pulling it apart, you can see it.
Yeah, I'm going to pull it apart of the screen. There. I'm not sure if you can see that or not.
Not really.
Well, to me it's really obvious. Anyway, I did my slip stitch little thing on either end of the middle stitch a stitch early. So it's a little messed up there, and I didn't feel like going back 2 rows to fix it, so I'm leaving it and just fixing it on, just continuing the way I'm supposed to on the next.
With 1 row, it shouldn't be too noticeable.
Yeah, hopefully. But I'm not changing it. So there.
It's a design modification.
I was sitting there thinking back at work and like, you know what? No. I'm not doing this. I'll just keep going. So I moved a little bit with a teensy bit thinking back that they quickly got made up again. So that was the Nightwing shawl. The next project I worked on are the Simple Spidey Scott? Simple Spidey socks. These are the Simple Skip socks by Adrienne Koo. I'm making them for me using
You're having issues.
US2 DPNs. I should put this project away. I'm using the Desert Vista Dye Works yarn in the I Could Have Been a Superhero colorway. For this pattern, you need to know how to cast on, to knit, to purl, to knit 2 together, to purl 2 together, to do the special skip stitch, to do a slip stitch, to slip, slip, knit, to yarn over, and to Kitchener. And let me put this away. This is living in my bag made by Tangerine 8 Designs, and it's a no maker's bag.
Little gnome farmer. Or rancher, or whatever. Farmer.
Yeah, she looks like a farmer. She's cute. So I actually tried this on at work, and I probably have a few more inches to go, but it will fit in spite of me doing the size below what my measurement was, which is exciting, and I'll probably continue making the size.
It's pretty soft.
Thank you. We're going to take it out of the thingy.
The thingy. The technical term.
Now, I actually did think back at this as well, but I quickly made that up. I was talking at work because we weren't too busy. I think maybe only a couple of us got admissions. And I wasn't paying attention. Instead of doing a normal skip stitch like you're supposed to, I wasn't paying attention. I didn't yarn over like I was supposed to before I completed the skip stitch. Because for the skip stitch, you're supposed to slip one stitch, knit the next, yarn over, and then pull the skip stitch, then pull the slip stitch over the knit stitch and the yarn over. Well, I skipped the yarn over part, so I only pulled the slip stitch over the knit stitch, and it made an accidental decrease.
Nice and tight.
So I noticed that, and I went back and I fixed it. I wasn't able to, because I fixed it from the row above, because I didn't feel like tinking back quite that far. There's going to be a section where there's not a skip stitch where there should be a skip stitch. And that's just going to be the way it is, because I wasn't going to go back and tink back a whole other row. So, yeah, that is the sock so far. As you can see, it's very close to the point where I would consider putting it on a toe. I love the way it fits. I love this height of the cuff. I just have a very big foot. I can wear up to 10. I usually wear about 9.5. So I have to have a long foot. But the heel feels very nice. I'm very excited about it.
It's very bright. You can see the colors well in here, but you can't see how bright it is.
Yeah. Well, you can.
It's better when you get closer.
Yeah. It's a lot better than lighting in your room. Here.
Yeah, it is. It's almost a little dark in here, but not too bad. It's much better than...
Yeah, but if we have too much light, like we were open the windows, we'd be too
washed out.
And that's part of what the problem was in all the other locations we were at. It was too bright. Go figure. I live night shift schedules, so my room is constantly a little dark. I have blackout curtains.
Underneath your drapes.
Underneath my drapes, so...
Excuse me, I'm going to be off camera for just a second.
You can drink while you're on camera. Anyway, that's the simple Spidey socks. Now let's just drop that down here. Whee! And then the next pattern I've been working on a lot is the one I'm calling Besk. It's mine. The Patty the Pillow Pony by Allison Cleaver. I'm making it for me. Oh, I completely skipped your sweater. I'll go over back to that in a second. Using US 8 Knit Picks Interchangeable Circulars. For this pattern, I'm using Yarn Bees Andes Alpaca yarn in Arabesque colorway. For this pattern, you need to know how to do Judy's Magic Cast On or the Turkish Cast On. I've never done the Turkish one. I've done Judy's though, and that's what I've been doing. You also need to know how to knit to purl, to cable 4 front, to cable 6 front, to knit 2 together, to knit 3 together, to make 1 left, to slip stitch, to slip slip knit, and to wrap and turn and Kitchener. So this is about intermediate pattern. According to the pattern, this toy will be approximately 13 inches high and 14 inches long. My needle size is a little bigger than the one suggested for the pattern, so my toy will probably end up bigger than what they say.
Let it anyway.
They don't have you do a gauge swatch. I don't usually do a gauge swatch for toys. So, let's see. It is in my big old back row bag. I love it. I love this bag for toys because I can carry my stuffing in here. So, come here. Here. Leg number 1. And remember the color differentiation I was telling you about last week? Now you can see it.
You want to hold them up together?
Yeah. I have the tails wrapped around, so that kind of blocks the cable a little bit.
It's got a real nice cable to it. It feels really nice. It's very soft.
I don't have this one stuffed nearly as firmly.
It's a forest of legs.
So, several legs, and you can see the cable there.
It's really pretty. Might go see that at this side.
Yeah, I think you're right. You can see better there. So that's 3 legs done. That's where you belong. And then, when I was on call the other night, I started the other leg. And you can see the cable there. The lighting is so much better in this room than the other. This is our new podcasting room.
It's pretty warm in here now.
I can turn on the fan.
Well, let's see how long we can go without it, because the fan's going to make noise.
But there we go.
We may have to get up and do the fan, because we're dressed for the rest of the house, which is cold.
Let me just...
I'm comfortable, but she's cold.
Actually, it shouldn't make too much noise.
As long as we don't have it on high, it won't be shaking too much. That's better.
Yeah, I don't think you can hear that noise over there.
What's next?
The next one is actually your sweater. Let me drop this down here. Let me take a drink, I'm sorry.
It's definitely cold weather over here.
Yes. Alright. I've been spending a lot of time on this project. It is the Heavenly Sapphire. It is in my lovely Pod Blue Nightwing bag. And there he is in all his awesomeness. This pattern, well, this project I'm calling it Heavenly Sapphire. It is the twin set sweater and cardigan by Claire Montgomery, and it is in the Knitting Vintage book. I'm making it for Mom, and I promised her like months, or almost a year ago now, that I'd make her a twin set.
They're hard to find. They charge you by the piece instead of, they call it a twin set, and then they charge you for each piece. That's not a twin set.
That's not the real issue. I usually can't find twin sets I like that aren't like. Now I don't wear twin sets, but twin sets that she likes don't have laciness across the top.
Or they're tanks. I don't like.
Or they're tank tops, and she doesn't like tank tops. So
I like to have short sleeves.
Anyway, it's hard to find a good twin set. This book is a good twin set. It's like, I think it's from the 30s.
Let's figure. I like that stuff. 40s, 30s, whatever it is.
Let's see.
You passed it.
I know I passed it. I need to find the beginning of the.
It is the 40s.
I need to find the beginning section. Yeah, so it's from the 40s.
I was born in the wrong era.
For this pattern, I'm using Knit Picks Andean Treasure in the Sapphire Heather colorway. For this pattern, you need to know how to cast on, to knit, and to purl. Really, that's all I've had to do. I mean, I've had ribbing, but once I got past the ribbing, it was amazing. There was, okay, get this, I'm using US 3 Knit Picks needles to start with. I am doing 4 3/4 inches of ribbing on 3s. Took forever. And it feels like a holiday now that I'm on my US 5s and doing stockinette. So.
It looks so pretty, and it's very soft. Very soft.
This never shows up really well.
So it's kind of a
dark bluish.
Blue, green, tealy kind of color. It's so pretty. The lighting does not do it justice.
And it's not that the lighting's bad in here. It's just.
Well, it's a hard color to pick up.
It's a hard color for my computer to pick up. I mean, I think that kind of.
It's kind of like that yarn I bought from.
Like you can see the yarn really well, but it's like the main part of the sweater doesn't.
It's hard to tell the color. It's just gorgeous. It really is.
Well, it looks like black there.
Yeah, it's not black. It's a beautiful blue-green kind of color. Absolutely gorgeous.
So, I feel like it's showing up better now that I'm not trying to show it.
Possibly.
But yeah, I've probably got half an inch, maybe an inch of stockinette so far. And I have to do stockinette for 14.5 inches. And this sweater, it's pieced together, so there's going to be a lot of sewing at the end. So, yeah, that is what I've worked on.
Oh, is it my turn already?
It is already.
Okay. I was kind of monogamous with my working this time, and I'm not going to be able to show you some of the things because they'll be in finished objects. I did do a little work on my Nicole.
By little work, she means like what she does now.
Yeah, I usually work for the podcast. This is the right side. You can see. the color change.
Yeah, actually, it shows up really well there.
And this is the wrong side. You can see the little line there
Where you picked up the stitches.
where I picked up the stitches. I thank Nicole for giving me the credit to show you the wrong side because I thought it was ugly, and I'm still going to put it back to it.
She showed her wrong side?
She showed her wrong side. She empowered me to show my wrong side and to embrace my wrong side. I love
That
Nicole.
just sounds wrong.
I love Nicole. She's great. She gives me all kinds of positive feedback, even when she doesn't know it. So, but anyway, I did a bit of work on this. Usually I just do it when I'm podcasting, especially if I have other things that I'm concentrating on. And in order to do this, I'm working this on a, I think it's my 10 and a half. Let me see. Excuse me while I look at this. My 10 and a half Hayas circular, they're fixed circulars. And you really don't need to know too much. You need to know how to cast on. You need to know how to knit, and you need to know how to pick up stitches. And essentially that is it. Let me cap this for a second so I can show you the other thing. I decided to do something on the spur of the moment. I promised myself I wasn't going to do any more pink because I'm so sick of pink. I don't like pink to begin with.
Oh, you did it in pink, didn't you?
I did it in rose. What I'm working on is the, I haven't named it yet, it's called the Adeline Fingerless Knits with false cables.
Faux.
C5 yes.
What about Englishman?
And I actually started these yesterday, and I finished the body of them.
Oh, really?
Okay. I need to put the cables in.
Yeah.
And, well, you got, see.
Oh, it really does fit quite well.
See, I had to drop down. You're supposed to use an H hook for this. I used a G to get the gauge. And
now, do you think you'd like it right here, or would you like it higher?
I might try it a little bit longer next time. I
think longer here would be nice.
Yeah, and I may put something here because I'm not sure what I did here. This is my first time doing any kind of mitts at all, and this is a little uneven. I'm not sure what I did here. So
are you sure it's not supposed to be uneven?
No, I don't think so. But I may go around and do what I did here and put a single crochet around it to.
It is nice and warm, though.
It is nice and warm, and what I have to do is put the cables on. Now the cables. This is what the pattern. What the pattern looks like. I don't know if you can see it. And the cables, I believe, are made by chains that you slip stitch in.
You can actually knit pretty easily with these on too.
Yes, I think they'll give support to my hands. My hands sometimes.
Oh, Mom, this will give really good support to your hand when you're knitting.
And it'll keep my hand warm.
Yeah.
While I'm doing it, so it should help the muscles. Now, they have it in the same color, the cable, but I think I want to do the cable.
Oh, that'll be interesting. In a different color.
Oh, excuse me. In this color.
Oh, Mom, if you finish it, you can put it in the
yeah, I'm trying to finish it for Pinktober. So it would be.
This is a.
It's a medium pink. It looks like it's kind of a tan, but it's actually a medium rose. So I want to do the cables in this color. When I finish the podcast, I'll probably work some more on this. In order to do this, where's my notes?
Right, hit them.
Okay.
Num.
Regurgitate. This is a pattern by let's see, by Crochet Dreams. And I'm not sure if that is a publication or a person. I apologize. It's a relatively easy pattern. It's got a lot of visual interest to it, which I really like. It gets worked up really quickly. I am not sure about the cables. I've done regular cables before. I thought doing the faux cables might be an interesting change, and see how that works. In order to do this, I'm using my Red Heart yarn in deep rose, medium rose for my stash, and a G hook, as I said, instead of the H, because that's the only way I could get gauge. In order to complete the project, you need to know how to chain, how to single, double, half double, triple crochet, which I don't remember doing the triple crochet. I guess I did, maybe.
Maybe it was right along here.
Probably. No, that single crochet was probably to begin. And then you have to be able to slip stitch and join stitches. And that basically is what I am working on at the moment. Everything else is kind of on hiatus until I get Christmas gifts and things finished. I want my mitts.
You can want them.
Give me my mitts. She took my mitts. Took my
Ow.
mitts. Took my... I want my mitts. Give me my mitts.
These kind of, they're more than a hoe, but they're definitely mostly finished.
A 3/4 hoe?
I don't know.
I was hoping to finish the cables on one so I could at least have that, but you can see here with the ridges. I'm gonna mark it with this green yarn. I know I'm regressing here. Mark it with the green yarn so I know where to go crossways. It'll be interesting to see how that works because I kind of have difficulty with charts sometimes, but we'll see how that goes. Back to you.
Alrighty.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is my Star Wars bag. My No Maker, my Tangerine 8 Star Wars bag.
Yay.
Okay.
Alrighty. So that brings us to FOs, and your stuff is on
Already
top of
FOs?
my FOs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it is? Okay. Let me move it.
Well, we'll come here. Alrighty. So, you might remember, you might not, because I went through a period where I wasn't working on it at all, and then all of a sudden I got energy to work on it, because I got past stranding. My purple people eater is done.
Yes. Isn't he adorable?
So he's a one-eyed, one-horned, blind purple people eater. One-eyed, one-horned, blind purple people eater. We like short shorts.
Purple people eater.
So, in her pattern, this is Stacey's Troc pattern. Nice, easy pattern. The hardest part was probably the stranding for the stomach. Otherwise, it's very simple. Oh, the tail. When you're doing it around 4 or 5 stitches,
tight.
it's very tight. It's not a complicated idea. It's just that it's very tight. Originally, when she did it, she had purple with yellow where I have the fuchsia.
Is it yellow or orange?
It was yellow.
It was yellow?
And I don't think she had a neon purple like this. And I have a green eye versus a black eye because I wanted something unique. So there he is.
And he's adorable.
With his wings, kidney-shaped wings. I guess these are actually his kidneys popped out of his body. Because it's right where the kidneys are supposed to be. Just about.
Anatomy lesson of a flying purple people eater.
And then he has his little tail. And he sits next to my sea of peacock, who is
They plot all kinds of trouble.
over here feeling lonesome and unloved. But he feels lonesome and unloved anytime anything else gets attention.
Yes, he must have all attention. Isn't that right?
So we'll put them back over here. This is the FO for the week.
I have a fine purple people eater on my shoulder. My FOs. Okay. My first FO are my wonky pillows.
That's not the title of them.
Yes, it actually is.
Oh, is it?
Yes, it actually is. I started out, if you remember, wanting to make a pillow cover for a 16-inch square pillow form. And I don't know what I did, but it wasn't fitting right. And I decided, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to make 2 small pillows. So I had the 2 parts. It just wasn't working right. This one, and it matches my parents' anniversary or Christmas, whatever. I decided to give them the blanket. This one is pink and green, and then green and white. And I don't like the seaming on the back of it, but I don't think anybody's going to see the back of it anyway. So, and I'm not sure they're going to actually get this. They may not get either. They may get both. I don't know. We'll see. This one is one of them. This is the other one. I don't know if you can see. There's a very
because you can barely see it now.
Well, it comes up pretty well. The pattern on the top here. I was just playing around with the. I don't even know what stitches I did. Double, single, half double, playing around, going from one row to the other. I was just goofing around, and it's kind of a popcorn stitch on the top. So these are the 2 pillows, and I think my parents will get the green one almost definitely. I'm not so sure about this one. My husband said he'll use it for the back of his chair, for his back, if I don't give it to my parents. So that's my first set of FOs. My second FO is Davina's Christmas stole.
Not too loud.
Yes, I have to be careful because he's... And here, I don't know if you can see the sparkles on the edging or not.
The sparkles never did pick up very well, no matter what camera we used.
Yeah, it's like
Well, I don't think you can see Sia sparkly.
It's the same yarn that's on Sia, but I don't know if you can see it
Let's see.
on his nose or his feet.
His feet. There, you can see a little bit on his feet. That's what
Okay.
she's using for.
That's what is being used on the edging. And so you got this purple with this kind of a white edging. And my other daughter is very small, so this will be fine, like that, for her.
I am not a shawl person.
So
I don't know why I'm making a shawl.
So, and I want to get a shawl pin for her to have with this as well. And she'll love it because it has sparkles. Mm-hmm. So this one is finished. It was based on a baby blanket called the
Recuerdos de Infancia?
No, that's my shawl.
Oh.
The Block Stitch Blanket by Kathy North, and I just found it to be too open for a baby blanket. I was afraid little fingers would get caught in it. So I just decided to modify it, because I can do that. Yay! I can modify it. Okay, so this, and I have one more FO. And I'm not going to put that back in there right now. This is my other FO. This is my little glue word sprite.
Looks like he got beaten up playing with some of my toys.
Yes, he does. He's not quite as stiff as my pink one that I gave to my friend because it's not made out of red. If it's made out of Red Heart yarn, it might be Red Heart soft. I think it might be a Caron yarn, so it doesn't stay out as stiff as the other one did. But he is a word sprite, a blue. I haven't given him a name right now. He goes by Blue Boy, but that's not his name. He hasn't told me his name yet. And I was so sad when I had to give the other one away, so I made this one for myself. It was kind of a Halloween gift for myself, and he's fairly easy. He's made by
You made him in a day.
yeah. It didn't take me very long at all. Day and a half, something like that. Working on and off, between doing stuff with the family and stuff like that. And he is the pattern is a Pink Floyd Podling pattern by Carissa Cole. She has some really, really adorable little creatures. And this is the I made 2 of these and I just loved her patterns. They're easy and she's easy to follow, and they're just adorable. So that is my 3rd FO, and that is all I have to show you for FOs.
That's all.
Yeah.
That brings us next on the needles. I still eventually want to make the Southerton. Still want to make eventually Master Chief Amigurumi. I need to see if the girl who made that has put up the design yet. Eventually I want to make the Katniss socks, but I need to finish the Skip socks first. And then I want to make some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So,
yes. Well, I have the things I have to finish: my Blue Heaven sweater by Lisa Gentry, and my Claret shawl, which is like so close to being finished, and my Pretty in Pink lacy keyhole scarf by Stephanie Chappelle. I need to finish those. But for next on the needles, I would like to start the Melvin Misunderstood Monster by Chris Cole, the lady who did the pink podling. Davina has been after me to do it, so I'd like to do that. But we're starting up with the Mystery Cal on the 15th of November for Stacy Trox, so I don't know if I'll be able to start that one off yet. I'd like to start it soon because he's adorable too. So Stacy Trox Mystery Cal is something that will be on the hooks in the next couple of weeks as soon as I get the first clue, and we won't be able to show much in the way of progress because it is a Mystery Cal.
We can show progress as long as we tell people to look away.
Well, yeah, people to look away, and at the beginning of it, you're not going to be able to tell what it is anyway. Yeah. And then I'd like to start the Chevron Lace Cardigan by Nilobo, and more toys, lots more toys, and the Sedna Shawl, and the Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
Yes, because we got Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
We got Ninja Turtle yarn.
I guess this is as good a place to talk about as any.
Yeah.
We're about to head in Stash and Hansen, but because it's not really...
Well, it's more obsession than Stash and Hansen at this point.
So when No Makers had her...
Amanda
had her Friday...
It wasn't even a shop update. It was... She had warned us that she was going to have a shop update. She only does a shop updates every other week now, but she had warned us about the special ones she was having in between. She has smaller ones in between, but not a podcast to go with it. And she had warned us beforehand, and she warned us on Flirk that this would be happening. So I was stalking No Maker's Etsy shop. So when it came on, I think I was the first one to order it.
Yeah, she had well, I think they're all gone now.
They
She
are.
had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle yarn with Splinter included.
In a limited edition pack.
In a limited edition pack. You had to get them all together. They were in a pizza box. You could get either the small pizza box,
And there are still some of those left, the mini schemes.
or the big pizza box. Mom and I split the big pizza box for our Christmas gift. And we'll just mark it for both of us under the tree and open it then. Because you have to present it in the pizza box and take pictures.
Yes, it has to be done that way.
You can't separate the turtles.
No.
And besides, we're splitting Splinter between the two of us, so
Like the baby.
that would not work well unless we plan to cut him in half.
Must be kind of messy.
Yes. So what we're planning on doing with the yarn is we're actually planning to make the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toys out of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles yarn. I'll take Mikey and Donnie.
And I get Raph and Leonardo.
Yeah, and then we're going to use Splinter to make the shells. And we'll find other yarn elsewhere to do their little masks and their belts.
Like that.
So yeah, that is next on the needles. Stash enhancement. Well, you mentioned the yarn already,
but
we won't be able to show it until Christmas.
Yeah.
For the mystery Cal crochet along, Stacy Truck. If you're not familiar with her, you need to go look up her patterns.
Oh,
she does toys. She did the Purple People Eater
and my platypus that I did a while back,
and Siev. So these are her patterns. As you can see, they're big and they're cute. I'm actually strangling them. There you go. Since it's mystery crochet along, she let out the first clue for about how much yarn we needed to do. So this is my main color.
It's a variegated red.
Yeah, and you can't. It's the red's kind of muted here, but at least you can see it's variegated. It's got red and orange. There's reds.
Yeah, red, orange, burnt kind of orange.
And it's Red Heart.
It's just Red Heart.
And it's called Chili.
Yeah.
And then this is my secondary color. This is a Grape Fizz.
It's got great blue.
This one actually shows up pretty well.
Yeah.
It's even prettier than what the...
It is. It's a very pretty yarn.
So these two together, I know, it's going to be crazy.
It's going to be a garish little monster, but he'll be cute. Well, it's not a monster. It's an animal. It's actually a real
We don't know
animal.
what it is.
We don't know
We just
what
know
it is.
that's an animal.
A real animal.
Yeah. So it's going to be a garish real animal.
It's going to be cute.
But I wanted something a little crazy. I wanted something fun. I have some eyes coming in. Yeah, the prize, I don't know how she's going to choose a prize, but the prize is like Suncatcher Eyes.
Yes.
Which is awesome, because Suncatcher does do good eyes. I think, what did I do Suncatcher Eyes on? No, I think you got some Suncatcher Eyes.
Is this Suncatcher Eyes?
No, I don't think
those
so.
are my Jerry's eyes,
I
which
know
are also very good.
I know you got Suncatcher Eyes for one of your toys. This Sia's eyes came from Etsy. Probably people here didn't have. Maybe I used Suncatcher Eyes for, I used Suncatcher Eyes for, oops. Oh, okay. Thank you. He has Suncatcher Eyes in.
I like Suncatcher Eyes. They have a fairly good selection, not quite as extensive as Jerry's eyes on Etsy, but very good. They're very, very high quality.
And I like their backs. Because they aren't like, some eyes where you like really push to get them on. You don't feel like you have the Hulk to slam them in.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the Hulk reference is for you, No Makers. I know you probably don't watch the podcast, but that reference was for you.
Yes. Hulk smash.
Yes. So that is all for my stash enhancement.
Okay, my staff enhancement. Yes, my staff enhancement.
You're enhancing your staff.
Yes. Excuse me.
Of course, you're thinking staff S-T-A-F-F. I'm thinking staff S-T-A-P-H.
Ew. Craftsy had. Yes, I'm bad. But it was really important because Craftsy.
Oh, I have an enhancement with that too.
Go ahead.
I've been stalking Craftsy. I mean, I picked up some sweater things that came on sale, but when I was sick, the mittens class was up for $19.99, and I didn't want to make a decision while I was sick. So I held off. Well, I missed the deal. So I've been stalking it for the past week or so, waiting for it to come down again from $39.99 because the mittens class looked awesome. I knew I really wanted to make mittens at some point. I still haven't cast on for them yet, but it looks really good. Finally came down to $29.99, not as good as the $19.99 deal, but I snapped it up, and that's my enhancement, is the mittens class. It looks really good so far. I've been watching it I was watching while I was finishing up a Purple People Eater, who needs a real name, not just Purple People Eater. But yeah, it looks really good so far. So if you haven't taken any craftsy classes, I would suggest the mittens one. I would suggest the craftsy format because
It's a very good format.
it's very good. It's the classes don't go away. There's questions. People post their projects. The teachers come by and answer your questions. It's just very well set up. They allow you to take notes during the videos in a screen where you can reference back to it later, and when you reference back to it, it'll take you back to the video point where you took your notes. So it's really good. So if you haven't done craftsy classes, do them now.
Okay, my first stash enhancement is due to craftsy classes. I don't buy a lot of them at once normally because they are a little pricey sometimes. The good thing about craftsy is that they have a lot of sales.
Yeah.
And if you put something in your cart and you take it out,
You're
going to get something in the mail later on saying, oh, it's on sale. So
I have a fiber.
yeah, I bought 2 classes for less than $50. One was the not so itty bitty amigurumi or toys or whatever it's called.
I think the not so itty bitty is just Susan B. Anderson.
It is Susan B. Anderson.
So I don't think it's
knitting.
amigurumi. Not so itty bitty animals or
something like that. Yeah, I don't remember the exact name. I'm sorry.
Susan B. Anderson is the one who did this pattern, Mom.
Yes,
she did my pig, and this was a free pattern.
Well, and I know she's a very good and very popular designer, and I've been watching that one for a while, thinking I'm not ready for it, but she says it's beginner level. So beginner to advanced beginner.
My first toy was her. So.
Yeah, can do it. So I went ahead. It came down to $19.99, so I picked that one up, and I also picked up the mittens. It was not yet $19.99. It was down to $29.99.
Because you ignored it when it was $19.99.
Because I didn't. Yeah, I looked at that one. It also said you can do it if you're beginner level. So I need to start getting out of my comfort zone and doing some of these things. So
and the mittens, it's taught by a person who did crochet first,
right?
Which I think is what convinced Mom to pick it up.
Exactly. So I have the 2 craftsy class as part of my stash enhancement. Let me show you my other stash enhancement.
You crushing my toys.
These are my colors for the Mystery Cal CAL for Stacy Trock. This looks like it's purple. It's not.
You know what will show up better is we show the Purple People Eater.
Yeah,
it shows up really well.
This is the color I have on the Purple People. It's this very bright neon pink. This is the accent color, the secondary color, okay, for my project. And the Grape Fizz that Talia showed you earlier is my main color for the Mystery Cal. I'm assuming the body, because it's the biggest part of the cal is going to be done in this color. And I also picked up some eyes, which are not here yet, from Suncatcher Eyes.
They're really kind of cool. I wish that my toy would have been good for them, but the colors wouldn't have worked for my toy.
Yeah, it would have been too busy.
Yeah,
because the eyes I'm getting are rainbow kind of eyes, and I'm hoping that with Stacy, the way she does things, that there'll be this kind of a color rim, and I can put that right in. I mean, it'll work fine with this as well, but it will work even better if there's a rim of this color. So these are my yarn stash enhancements.
I mean, unless she does it like she does see on the list. The secondary color like a beak and feet or something.
Right. Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll find out soon enough. So that's
when we have our Mystery Cal. When they do the Mystery Cal, if you aren't taking part, you can help us try to figure out what.
Yeah. And for those of you who maybe aren't part of our group but do the podcast anyway, and if you do Stacy Trock's things, is over a month, and it will be finished just before our toy along is finished. So you can double dip if you join the group.
Yeah.
You can be doing Stacy's Mystery Cal, and if you finish it, you can enter it into our toy along and be eligible for the prize. But you do have to join the group.
Yeah. So yeah, that's part of his obsessions. I guess that was actually your stash enhancement. Wow.
Yeah.
Which went very nicely into
Stash enhancement.
into obsessions.
Obsessions, yeah, which I didn't do yet, but you can go ahead and do.
It was actually my turn, not yours.
Yes. But I was still talking.
Well, are you still talking? Are you still talking?
I'm
Are you still
poke you.
talking? Are you still talking? Are you still talking?
I
don't
still-
hear you
I
talking.
can still,
Are you still talking? I don't hear you talking.
I do have
think she's
a
done talking.
listing for her on Etsy for the highest bidder.
So, it was funny. We have these these plastic pumpkins out where we had candy in them for Halloween. All the candy's done, and at some point during night shift, someone stacked all the pumpkins. We have pumpkin tower, and the supervisor comes in and she's like, "Okay, it was either you," she said to me, "or it was Kathy, one of the eight. Which one?" I'm like, "Well, it wasn't me." It was Kathy, but I thought it was funny that I was picked out as one of the
She's
perpetrators. So it's fun. So yeah, that was completely off topic. Obsessions. Well, the toy along, which if you have been watching the podcast, you know that it went from started September 1st and it goes until December 15th. Yes. I couldn't remember when I had going to. And as long as the project is finished by December 15th, it was started no earlier than August. Right?
Yes. August 15th?
Yeah.
Or August
it was.
1st,
Yeah. It could have been started in August, but it has to be finished in December.
In September.
By December. It has to be finished.
Oh, right. It cannot be. It can be started in August, but not finished any earlier than September 1st.
Yeah.
And it can be finished as late as December 15th.
Exactly what she said. We have a pictures only thread for the drawing for the winner. Our prize is 2 patterns, no more than $10 for the winner.
$10 each.
Yeah, $10 each for the winner. There will be only one winner at this time. If you're taking part in the Nurses with Needles toy along, be sure to add the tag Toy Along 2012 to your projects. So I think we've talked about that. Oh, there's a nice chatter thread. People talk about their projects, show their progress so far. It's really a lot of fun. We have a great group.
It is. I mean, if you aren't already involved, you should really consider it. Even if you just come to cheer the others on and see what's going on, it's a terrific group.
It's just a lot of fun. Obsessions. I finally started my Timothy Zahn book that I haven't read yet, so I'm really excited about it. Keep reading my Kindle in bed, and because of it, I don't have full range of motion. Every once in a while I get a sharp ouchie in my neck from reading a book. So,
in this case, Kindle.
Yes. So I have to figure out a better way to do that so I don't hurt my neck. Still into the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show on Nickelodeon. I also picked up Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which is fun as well. Well, that's when I do my knitting and crocheting, is when I'm watching TV. That's probably when I should be watching my my podcast, but instead I want to watch superheroes beat up people.
Twist.
Stop! She doesn't learn, really. Okay, and then that leads to I'll let you do your obsessions, and we'll discuss the
yeah, because we're getting
podcast
kind of, I don't know how much time we have, but my obsessions. I am still very much obsessed with the toys. I really do like the toys. I kind of stalk the Stacy Chalk group. We have a lot of chattering. There's a lot of chattering going on there for the mystery, which is fun. I also I have caught up with most of my podcasts. Well, not most of them, but more than half of them, I'm caught up with. I also am. I finished Stargate. I had to put in my other disc. I have a million discs. I just haven't had a chance to take them out and use them. I picked up my White Collar again, the first season. I'm watching that. Love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and love anything Avengers at this point. I haven't picked up Talia's cartoon yet. I don't know how to find it, so I haven't done that yet. And I don't have a whole lot of time to watch television anyway. But when I'm knitting or crocheting, I have picked up my Catholic Stuff You Should Know podcast again.
Yeah.
So basically, No Maker's Yarn. Yeah. So,
Okay then.
writing.
Well, before we go into writing, I want to talk about the new name of the group. So we chose a winner. We had 2 applicants who put in their suggestions. I know Sun Country did.
And Snooks.
Was Snooks the other one?
I think it was Snooks. They each put in several wonderful suggestions. It was very hard to choose.
It was hard to choose. In the end, though, Sun Country won. So that means Sun Country, you get your choice of pattern no more than $6. So please PM me.
And it doesn't have to be a toy. This could be whatever you want.
Yes, it can be whatever you want, just as long as it's no more than $6.
Yes.
So just PM me with your choice. And she suggested the name Pen, Hook, and Needles. So that is what we're going to go with. And as soon as I get off here, I will be trying to go about, well, probably tonight, not as soon as I get off of here.
Right.
I will be trying to go about making this the Pen, Hook, and Needles podcast, which will take some time to get used to.
Right, and we might have, a notation.
Well, on the group, I'll have a notation.
Yeah.
iTunes won't let you do notes.
Right, of course not, yeah.
But,
I hope we don't lose our viewer base here with our name change.
Well, if people watch, they should know what the that we're doing a change, hopefully.
Yeah.
But I think it'll just be more applicable to. I did a search on Ravelry for groups called Pen, Hook, and Needles, and none came up. So that's a good thing too. So we won't be mixed up with anyone else.
Messed up?
That too. So yeah, Sun Country, please PM me because
congratulations.
You won. Congratulations.
And thank you, both you and Snooks. It was wonderful to have such wonderful suggestions. Yes. They were all very, very good. And
I thought you were going to say wonderful again.
Wonderful. It was wonderful suggestions. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Wonderful.
Wunderbar.
Wunderbar.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So thank you very much. Writing. None here. I didn't write. I didn't draw.
I did a little bit of writing to the shared story. Not a whole lot that I can recall. Didn't do anything, I don't think, on the synopsis. I did do some editing for a friend, and I did write on the shared story a little bit.
You said that.
No, I was talking about my synopsis.
You said that before that.
There you go. Well, proof to it
bore repeating.
Yes, it bared repeating.
It bore repeating.
Yes, it did. I did. Oh, and I placed. Where's my word sprite? Okay, now I can talk. I placed part of an older piece that I'd written that I'm thinking about expanding. I did place that up for critique as well. So it wasn't a really good writing week. It was kind of hectic with things going on here, but I did get a little done, so I'm not overly unhappy. I'm not real happy, but I'm not overly unhappy either. And I look forward to maybe getting a little more done in the coming week.
Alrighty, which leads us on to thank yous. We do have one new member, and we have her name right this time.
Yes.
It is Chantilly 4. It's very great to have you in our group, Chantilly.
It's wonderful.
Wonderful.
Hi, Chantilly.
Now I have the song from Wicked. There's a song called Wonderful in it. It's actually one of my least favorite songs. It's one Joel Grey's. Of course, they're going to like it just because Joel Grey sang it, not because it's actually an awesome song.
That's a whole different story.
But anyway, welcome aboard, Chantilly 4.
Glad you found us.
Yes, so glad you found us. So, I guess that brings us to the end of the podcast. thank you very much for watching. Keep your eyes open for the group being called Pen, Hook, and Needles now. No longer Nurse with Needles because there's only one nurse, not two, and Pen, Hook, and Needles seems to fit a little better.
So we look forward to seeing you next week. In the meantime,
happy knitting,
happy knitting and crocheting.
She's almost like happy knitting and crocheting. God bless. Bye.